get into the conversation with him. This is our brand new season, episode 2. I've got Joseph Huch, VP of Sales from USIO. He's been there for 10 years. I think there's some family relationship to the executive team over there as well. We can dive into that. And USIO is very special. They are listed on NASDAQ, I believe, right? Under USIO as the ticker. So welcome, Joseph. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Tim. It's good to see you. It's great to be on your podcast. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have hundreds and not thousands of people looking at this stuff. I want to first thank you. This was supposed to be done last year in 2025, but here we are, brand new us, brand new you guys as well. We've been working together for a long time. So, Joseph, tell us about USIO. Maybe to the very beginning, where you got this name. What does that mean? Is it US at one time? And talk about the journey of yourself. I know your family is very entrepreneur, so I want to hear some of that story to kick it off.
Yeah, sure. Tim, it's funny. I go back to the company's been around since 1998. I was part of that original group that started a company called BillServe.com, and back in the late 90s, early 2000s, if you had a .com next to your name, I mean, it was a crazy time back then. And I had left the company. I had been working at Nortel for like 16 years. I'm kind of dating myself here, but
name.
And our CEO Lewis was a customer of mine. He was an executive at Billing Concepts. They did let billing, communications billing, and they were a client of Nortel, and I was selling interactive voice response systems. That was kind of my forte at
IVR for all the tech people out there.
Yeah, IVRs, exactly, and they're still around. Some of the ones I've sold are still there. I sold a lot of airlines, American Airlines and stuff like that. It's a huge money saver for them. But I digress. I bid onto that. I was at Nortel for 16 years. It was a great job. And then Lewis asked me to come over, and we did BillServe. And that was back when, they were doing electronic bill presentment and payment. And there were 2 aggregators out there. There was TransPoint, which is Microsoft, and there was CheckFree. And our business model at the time was to aggregate those bills from both of those bill aggregators so that you could see both in one place. So that was the business model. And it was great until they merged. So there was not necessarily a need for the aggregation part of it, but we continued. We did a pivot, started processing payments, and we changed the company name. We sold off assets of that to American Express, and then we changed the company name to Payment Data Systems, which a lot of folks out there remember that name. I mean, PDS. Payment Data Systems, well known. Especially in the subprime lending space for many years.
Right.
When we went public,
in context, what year was that when you sold out the asset, changed the name?
Oh, that was I had left around 2001, and I think that they sold around 2003, something like that. I don't have the exact dates, but that was way back when. And I mean, I went on and I worked at Oracle and I worked at Ellucian, and I was selling ERP to higher education. I mean, it was the longest sales cycle. I don't think there's anything longer than that, except perhaps the federal government.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while as well.
Right.
But wow. Nonetheless, I did all these other things, and I mean, I can't get into the long story, but I took a year off. I went down to Mexico on a motorcycle and broke my leg, and
that's a different show.
Yeah, that's a different show. But on the way back, I was coming through San Antonio, and I got together with Lewis and sort of came back into the fold. You'd asked me about the name change and all of that. So I started back in 2015, back at Payment Data Systems. And then when we went public onto the NASDAQ, we changed the name to USIO. And there's different, some people say it's, the middle of fusion. If you put an F in front and an N in the back, it spells fusion.
Okay.
But honestly, I think Lewis wanted a four-digit domain name, so we picked USIO.
Okay.
I like it. It's easier to type my email.
UCO? Yeah.
Anyways.
Like a yeah, it's like a Pokemon character, UCO. Okay, wow. So Fusion dropping the bookends at the name, but one of the myth, right? These are founding myths now.
It
Wow.
is, and there's some other translations, but I really do think that that's the primary reason.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I mean, being where I'm at in my career, it's really nice. I've been here for 11 years now, and it's just been a delight. I mean, I really love the people that I'm working with, and I love working with our partners as well.
Yeah.
We've known each other, like you said, for many years and crossed paths at conferences and things like that.
Right.
It's a tight knit,
Almost feel like
community.
a family now. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And you just build some great relationships over time. I'm really proud too. One of the things being in sales is that you really need to be passionate about what you're selling.
That's true.
And I'm passionate about our tech, our technology. I'm passionate about our product set. I'm passionate about our people. We have all of the components for great success. And
Right.
I mean, when I started, we were a $15 million company, and we're now close to 90 million. So we've had great growth. We're very diversified as a company. That we don't have all of our customers necessarily in one basket. We have lots
Right.
of different verticals that we serve.
Right.
So if there's a downturn or anything like that, we tend to continue to have that year-over-year growth.
Yeah. That passion is so important. People ask me, Tim, who gave you the license to build this kind of stuff? Oh, that's a nice Bucky's cup. I love it. Yeah. And my wife will say, why the hell do you jump out of the bed 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the office? I'm like, well, there's problems to be solved. There's people that are going to help. But UCO is a huge company, like you said. I think last year or year prior, 2025, you guys processed like what, 7 billion, 6 7 billion, $6 7 billion worth of transactions, right? ACH, credit card, debit card, and all that stuff, and millions and millions and tens of millions of transactions. Tell me more about the
Yeah,
technology.
that's correct. I mean, and there's a lot of things that I think make that up. And to our credit, I mean, I mentioned the people.
Go ahead.
We've had extraordinarily low attrition. People come to work at UCO, they like it. And I can say that for our customer base as well, Tim. I mean, as there's a lot of competition out there. It's a commodity market. So you really have to sell additional value. And I think that that's really key to our success. Um, our product set is so diversified. I mean, obviously we're, an ACH processor.
Right.
I will brag a little bit. We're out of 11,000 or so third party senders. I mean, we're one of, I think, 10 or 11 that are Nacha certified. And that's just a rigorous audit that we go through with Nacha to, demonstrate our commitment to, meeting all the standards that Nacha requires. And I think that it's sort of a badge that we can wear,
That's right.
and that our customers can look at that and know that, that they're going to be safe, with UCO. We're a safe choice. No one got fired by an IBM. Remember that?
Right. Well, our audience is diverse as well. They may not know what Nacha is and how powerful that organization is. Maybe you can give us a little bit of a background on Nacha. What does that even mean? What does it stand for? Break it down.
Yeah, sure. You said you were going to save the hard questions to the end, Tim. So you're kind of putting me on the spot here. No, I mean, Nacha is they're the regulatory body for ACH transactions in the United States, and they set the rules, and they're constantly changing those rules. So it's important because as a processor, we're responsible for maintaining return rates and things like that, and which Nacha sets those limits. But that's one of the services that we offer. I mean, again, you mentioned we're a relatively decent sized company, which we are, but we're also very hands on. I saw, that you're gonna have someone that picking up the phone when you have a problem. Our VP of architecture will jump on a call in a moment's notice to help someone with an API integration or
Sure.
anything like that. So we're very high touch. I like to say we're a boutique type of company in terms of how we serve our customers. But one of those services is that we really do help, especially startups, as when you're doing, when you're starting out, you're doing transactions, you don't have a lot of transactions, so you could potentially run into, issues with return rates and things like that. So we help manage that, and that's part of our risk and compliance team. So all of the different components of the company are clicking to really help our merchants succeed, and I think that's really key to again, our low attrition rate, our success.
Right. Do you spread them across different banks behind the scenes to sort of manage that risk for, startups or new, or a company that wants to start a new portfolio, for example? How do you guys intelligently route all that stuff? Is it just a lot of technology built over the years to kind of figure that out?
Yeah, I mean, we've got all of the different channels, right? I mean, all the different payment rails are available to us. But we typically let, either the ISV or the loan management system or whatever manage the logic of how they route, either transactions and things like that. I mean, we're really the plumbing behind the scenes that move the money, but we do it securely, and we do it, with pace. I mean, we're very scalable. Everything's cloud based. I mean, you kind of have to be these days, but it's something that we're reliable, right? I mean,
You don't want
you
that.
just
That
don't
means
know, and it's such a mission critical thing,
right.
right? I mean, when you're moving millions and in
Right.
our case billions of dollars,
That's right.
you have to be 100% accurate and 100% reliable.
Right, right. Because NACHA is not just a file format, right? It's regulation, there's monitoring, there's security protocols, there's audits, right? Getting that red badge of courage is something, and that's a testimony for 40, I mean, continuously like 40 years of services for this industry.
Yeah, and we're proud of that. I mean, we
Yeah.
really are. I don't know why more senders aren't, going through that process and getting that accreditation, but that's okay. I mean, we do it. We're also HIPAA compliant because we work, with a lot of medical ISVs and things like that. So, we want to, I wouldn't say we're bleeding edge, but we're definitely leading edge.
Yeah.
But we're overly cautious, and you have to be in this industry. I mean, you
Right.
just do.
Right. What about talk to me about debit cards, credit cards, and this new thing that the Feds or the Treasury Department have developed, real-time transaction processing that some banks are starting to adopt. Tell me more about what's new in the card space as a transaction method.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a card issuer since about, I think, 2014, and we acquired a company called Akimbo, which was a general purpose reloadable card. And I to this day, I think it still has the best user interface in the business. But we're really, our relationship with MasterCard, through that relationship, we do a lot of disbursement type of card programs. I mean, we have a GPR card. I mean, it's literally a bank account, and it's a great UI, as I mentioned. But we do a lot of disbursements, and like back during COVID, or if there's a state or a city that wants to do a test or a beta of a guaranteed income program,
Right.
or disbursements during disasters,
Right.
or anything like that. MasterCard typically comes to us with a lot of that business. And we did the state of New York when they were doing COVID incentives. That was millions of cards that we produced.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I see that product. We actually had a call. I mean, one of the friends that you guys introduced us to, doing some really cool stuff in the rental space,
Yeah.
apartment rental space.
Right.
And we have a platform, we call it our disbursement platform or consumer choice, because the company's broken up into, we have an acquiring side, we have a card issuing program management side, and
Right.
we also have a print and mail side.
Yeah.
So all of those tie together and create this disbursement platform. And we could issue a virtual card,
Okay.
instantly to your phone, which you can push directly into your Apple Wallet or any of the other wallets that are supported, Samsung or Google.
Right.
But Apple actually used our technology to develop that pushing directly into the wallet. So that's one form, and it's an inexpensive form of receiving
Sure.
funds. But if somebody says, no, I want an ACH, or I want it pushed to my normal debit card, or I want a check. I mean, believe it or not, like one of our biggest accounts a couple of years ago was Voyager Digital, which was a crypto exchange.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was just gangbusters when things were going, and then the crypto winter hit, and was kind of ugly. But we actually did the bankruptcy disbursements for that program, and they insisted on paper checks, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without our check printing division.
Gotcha.
So we've got a lot of legs on the stool that we can pull from for a client. I don't like to necessarily go in and lead with all of that because it's a
Sure.
little overwhelming, but it's definitely something. And
Right.
I personally think there's opportunity in the lending space, lines of credit, things like that for prepaid, because the data that you get is incredible. I mean, because we're a program manager, I mean, you can literally look into the spend, you can see when they get their funds, without open banking and all of that. I mean, you really have great visibility into that particular customer,
Right.
and we see there's huge value in that. So
Yeah.
we're kind of pushing down that path right now.
Yeah. Let's see if we can build a solution on this call. We talked to a bunch of credit unions. All these credit unions have big, robust indirect auto program. And one of their issues, as you know, is that when they get their pre-approval letter and show up at the dealership tend to sway them, right, to another lender, whatever the lender of the day is. Is it possible for us to issue credit and push it right into somebody's phone to say, hey, I've got the money to spend right now?
Hmm.
Is that possible? Can we wire, I'm sorry, using that wrong word. Can we push $10,000, $20,000 into a virtual credit card, if you will, and have them sort of pay right there and then if they have a terminal to accept it?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the use cases. Not necessarily buying a car because of the amount is there are some limits there, but in the situation where you need a new tire and you're
Yeah,
trying to get to work, right?
right,
I mean, you could literally push that instantly to a card,
right.
and then spend it at Discount Tire or wherever you're at getting your tire fixed.
Can we also tie it down to a specific merchant to say, hey, I've got you $5,000,
Yes,
but it's earmarked specifically for pest surgery, right?
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
you can
And you
tie
can
it.
monitor that as well, right? I mean, I think there's value. I mean, you know how much value there is in the data today. So somebody comes to you for a loan and they say, hey, I want it for this. And then you notice that they just went out to the casino or something like that, or wherever, right?
And you can decline that
I mean,
traffic and
I'm not
decline that
necessarily,
transaction.
I'm
Can you
sorry.
decline that transaction if they spend,
Yeah, and
you
you
know?
can control MCC codes and all of that. I mean, like, the disbursement cards that we did, they restricted liquor stores and, things like that, particular
Right,
things like cigarettes and,
right.
different types of things that you can restrict.
Yeah,
I mean, we're an open loop system, but, again, I think that, we have some other capabilities in the prepaid card program that I like to mention because there's only a couple of card issuers that are doing this, and one is Marqeta. But we have our own authorization engine, and where that becomes important is that the merchant actually has some decision making, power when it comes to authorizing a transaction.
sure. That's right.
So when we did the Voyager card, I don't know if I have it here in front of me, but when we did the Voyager card, they were able to authorize a transaction based on their crypto balance. So there was no real,
Got it.
there was no necessary to convert money. This is the Voyager card right here.
Let's
If you
take a
can
look
see
at
that.
problems. Wow. Oh, back it up a little bit. That's real right there, guys. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Uh,
really, I mean, what a great program. But again,
yes,
I mean,
one for one, keyed off their balance, a
yeah.
true debit
I
card.
mean, and again, I mean, if you see somebody's got $100,000 worth of Bitcoin and they go to Starbucks, you're not going to make them, sell $5 worth of Bitcoin.
Right,
You're just going to approve it. So
right.
that's a unique capability of our card issuing. And again, I mean, it's something that we are, pushing to try to get into the lending space a little bit more. We do think there's opportunity there, but it just remains to be seen. I mean, you know how slow sometimes it is to adopt new technologies and
Well,
new things.
we're trying to make it faster for sure. That's one of our missions, right? And the moment of truth is really, hey, we can issue the credit in a couple of seconds. A lot of people can do that now. Can we actually push that right at the point of truth, which is our mobile phone? That's why everybody uses to spend money now.
Exactly.
We just solve a lot of issues for a lot of people, in the audience, because people are still thinking about, I got to push an ACH. It might take a couple of days. Nobody wants to do wires; it's too expensive, and some of the banks aren't really adopting the RTP program just yet. So push to a text message, click on it, zap into Apple Wallet and Android Wallet, and be able to tie it down to that doctor's office, right? That a veterinarian, if you will, to get my pets taken care of and get my teeth taken care of. That's a powerful usage model. And then the lenders or the merchants knows that this money is actually spent for what it's for, because I underwritten it, that way, right? And would that card become a sort of a reloadable card, or is it just?
Could be.
It could be, right?
Yeah, it could be, because if you're just pushing funds, you don't need the KYC, right? But if they want to turn it into a general purpose reloadable, which we give them the option to do that,
right?
They do have to go through a KYC and AML process,
of course,
to doing that. But I mean, again, it's essentially a bank account. I mean, you can access an ATM, you can deposit funds, with cash. I mean, there's just all sorts of capabilities.
And you guys can handle all of it, or do my clients have to sort of get vetted by a bank or MasterCard and all that stuff? Could we just go to you and say, hey, here's a program. Could you give us a bunch of cards or a BIN or whatever it might be?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do incentive card, programs like that. We just acquired a company that they were doing expense management. I think it was for the film industry. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's something that we're working on as well, that we've got, in the works. I mean, that's public. I mean, we did a press release on it, but we're just constantly looking at enhancing things and, trying to grow our portfolio and diversify it as much as possible.
That's actually an interesting point. We're working with a lot of folks in the attention economy, right? Influencers and creators, they do a good business, right? So they need to get paid, because the brand doesn't really pay the agency for 60, 90 days, and the agency couldn't get the money out to the creators for another 30 days, right? But these guys need to pay sort of rent. So there are a lot of financing activities for those ARs, account receivables, and if we can push that to a card, it's easier for the creator to spend that money or to use it to sort of carry on their lives.
I think I lost you, Tim.
All right. No, you're good now. Joseph, you're back. Anyways, I love your story. I love your story. I love your background. We've been working with the UCO for a long time. I know you guys are a tight-knit group. All the team members are very friendly. We see you guys at shows all the time. But if you can still hear me, Joseph, how can we find more information? Is it UCO.com, UCO.co? Any shows that you go to often? Right. Any conferences that our audience should think about to meet you in person?
Yeah, I'm going to be attending
you're
the
making
National
a showing
Private
this year?
Lenders Association conference. Yeah, I'm going to attend the
I didn't even know about that. Where is it going to be?
Private Lenders Association. Sorry for
Yep,
all this.
I didn't even know about that one. Where is it going to be? When is it going to be?
Yeah,
when
that's
is the
in
National Private
Miami,
Lenders
March
Association?
15th through the 17th. Obviously, I'll be at the Tribal Lending, OLA Tribal Lending Conference and Lend 360 this year,
Yep.
and probably a couple more, but those are the main ones that are on the agenda. And then we're actually going to sponsor a customer and prospect event in Dallas in November, and I'll send you an invite to that.
Yeah, no, please. I'd love to maybe do some sponsorship and do some talks over there as well. This is great. It's a pleasure to have you on this call. You're my go-to person when I have a problem or issue a question, dumb ones on payments. I learned a whole lot from this conversation, Joseph, to be honest with you, about all of the other things you guys are doing. I'm gonna have to give you a call on some of the, some of the BNPL things we're trying to solve for, point of sale financing stuff that we're trying to solve for, to really get that approved credit to the shopper, to the patient, to the person that needs to spend that money right away to get that procedure and product bought. It's a powerful product. That said, Joseph, thank you so much for coming on my pod. This is this is my second time doing it, so hopefully I've done a decent job. We'll get
Likewise, this is my first time, Tim. So don't feel bad. You did great.
All right, perfect, awesome. I'll see you at some of the shows, and thank you. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Take care, buddy.